Welcome to the Underground.
Turn me up, bitch!
My Little Underground with Peter A.
Level 31, My Little Underground. I'm Peter A. Make sure you're subscribed on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and anywhere else you get podcasts. And don't forget to hit up my website, peteraradio.com. We got Twen on the show today. They're a Boston-bred, Nashville-based duo led by Jane Fitzsimmons and Ian Jones. Their debut album, Awestruck, is coming out September the 20th. And some really good news on the Twen front. They're going on tour in Europe with the great Taco Cat. Man, that's going to be a very charismatic, entertaining show. And if you're in Europe, definitely support Twen and Taco Cat. We also got a throwback interview. That's right, we're going back to 2015. I did an interview at the Moscot in New York City with Kristin Kontrol, formerly known as Dee Dee, who led Dum Dum Girls, and I got to talk to her right before she rebranded herself as Kristin Kontrol. So you guys are going to get that on Level 31, My Little Underground. Please follow me on Twitter and Instagram at itspeter_A. Talk to me. Come on, strangers. I welcome the conversation. Why would I say something like that? Why would I want strangers to do that? That's terrible. Anyway, Twen on the show today, and I got to catch up with them at Amityville Music Hall after their set, and it's during the middle of their tour with White Reaper, which was an awesome show from Twen and White Reaper as well, because every time White Reaper plays, it's no matter if it's a garage. I've never seen White Reaper play a garage, but I'm assuming that they would tear it up. But yeah, I saw them on Long Island. It's great to see, groups like White Reaper play Long Island, and because they got a major label deal in Elektra Records, so it's so cool that they're coming to a relatively small spot like Amityville Music Hall. And right after the show, I caught up with Twen. They were eating after the gig, and you know what? After a show that they played, a set that they played, they definitely deserve a nice meal. And they were so gracious enough to invite me to their table to have a conversation with them. And we're going to get it on in a little bit. But their set, I want to talk a little bit about their set. They were so charismatic, so energetic, and they really engaged with the crowd very well. Even if I had the feeling, I don't know this for sure, that anyone who went to that show and didn't know who Twen was, from the first couple of songs that they did, people probably didn't seem to know who they were, and they kind of applauded politely. But then as their set went on, they got the crowd at the palm of their fingers. I'm sure they made a lot of new Twen fans on Long Island. And White Reaper set, jeez, if you've never seen White Reaper, please do yourself a favor. They are unbelievable. Amazing stuff. Can't wait to see what they're going to do in 2019 and beyond. But I actually went to Gemma's album release show at the Union Pool in Williamsburg out in Brooklyn. Their second album, Feeling Is Not a Tempo, is out, and they did the release show for it. And it was one of the most diverse shows I've been to in Brooklyn. And it's kind of sad to say, a lot of the shows I go to in Brooklyn aren't the most diverse as far as the bands on the bill and the crowd. But this show, if you go see Gemma, you're going to see people from all walks of life, including people of color like myself. And it was great to see that. And they were awesome. Gemma's awesome. And if you don't know Gemma, the front woman, Felicia, sings in Ava Luna. And they're also amazing. Just wanted to give my 2 cents on that show. Definitely give Gemma a listen. And my guest today, my first guest on My Little Underground, Twen. Check him out.
Jeff won and then I ate the rest.
Okay, so is this me?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. We
sold a bunch of shit.
Yeah, a lot of your stuff is really cool though. Your the merch and stuff like that. Yeah. But that's not the important part. The important part is that you guys rocked Long Island.
Did you like it?
Yeah. So I want to officially welcome Twen to Long Island. You guys
we're here, baby.
are welcome anytime in the 631 area code.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, man, a lot of really exciting news in the Twen world.
Totally.
Your debut album, Awestruck, September 20th. So, listening to the original singles, the first 3 songs, a lot of them sound completely different from each other. Now, was that on purpose, or are you guys really just sticklers about trying to sound different on your project?
Well, I think anyone can get bored doing the same thing over and over again. And we don't listen to one genre of music, so I feel like it only makes sense that we just do things that are exciting. To us.
I try to never, I just try to never write the same riff twice. And so it's like, when I bring a riff to Jane, it's a riff that I haven't written before, and it's a different thing, and it's borrowing from something different. So naturally, Jane sings something different. And so it's just like, as long as, we just never try to write the same song twice, like I said.
But how do you keep track of that? How do you know you're not really repeating yourself?
It just something sounds familiar. And obviously there's like tropes and things that everyone uses that appear in their music.
Like the millennial whoop.
Yeah, whether you like it or not, you're gonna be affected by trends or other people that are making music at the same time as you, like our friends and other bands we see and tour with. But everyone does things differently, so there's an infinite amount of music out there. It's cool to dip your toes in all of it.
Is there any kind of like trend or trope that you would avoid or embrace?
No.
There definitely be. I feel like avoid is the stronger one.
Well, it's like, we don't want to be that kind of band. We want to be like, we want to make Twen music. We don't want to make garage music. We don't want to make psych music. We want to make Twen music, you know?
That's the thing that irks me the most a lot, actually, if I talk to people about music or people that are making music and they're like, I want to make this fill in the blank music. And it's like, I don't think whatever you're going to do is going to be good if you're going into it with like a preconceived notion of what that is. Because then, is that really you? Like, is that coming from you? Or are you trying to be somebody else? Because you think it's cool.
Jinx.
Yeah. And obviously we all do that.
Jinx, give me your mushroom.
You just have to tell yourself not to do that. I don't know. It's hard to get rid of it.
I think a lot of like our favorite artists say, "Oh, we're just trying to make blank music," but they end up not doing that. They end up just being themselves.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
So why limit yourself at the beginning?
Yeah, exactly. You're absolutely right. So the new album's gonna be on Frenchkiss.
Yeah.
So how'd you get hooked up with them?
Just didn't. How does anyone know anyone? I don't know. Is there a manager?
Basically, like, we moved to Nashville, right? And like we moved to Nashville from Boston, and we started playing a lot of shows. I mean, a lot of fucking shows. Like, we were playing like multiple shows a week for week after week after week, and we were touring.
We just like doing it.
So just word got around, and like I feel like we were bringing some Boston flavor to Nashville, a little bit of experimentation.
Yeah.
And I feel like people appreciated it, so people just started coming out to the shows, and then we met. We just met people, and then.
No, thank you. I'm good. Thank you.
And then just like you meet one person, and then you meet the other person, then eventually the record labels are interested, and then they give you an offer. It's just like one thing leads to another. And Nashville being
everyone in the music industry knows each other too.
Yeah.
Different labels, different managers, so
it's very big, but it's very small.
Yeah, and if you don't know someone, it's just 1 degree of separation to get to know. So
it was just what ended up being the best fit, I guess.
Yeah.
They just let you do whatever you want.
Well, they let us do. I can't speak for anyone else, but they're letting us do what we want. Like what was different about Frenchkiss was as soon as they heard the album, the next morning, they hit us up and they were like, "We love their record." And whereas with a lot of people, they kind of show a little warmth, but they don't really show enthusiasm.
They want someone else to like another label to like act on it, so they only jump on it if someone else is jumping on it.
Yeah, right.
Sense.
And that happened.
They won't take a chance on their own.
As soon as Frenchkiss showed interest, all of a sudden this other label that knew about us forever, all of a sudden they were interested now. It's like, well, you knew about us, but you heard the record 6 months ago, and you didn't say shit. So it's just fishy like that, you know?
Stupid.
But I think what's interesting is that you guys are, again, you're playing a lot of shows before your album came out. Do you feel like there's any kind of issues with doing that? Because when you're playing a show, people don't know your music, you know what I mean? Versus going to a show when you have an album already out.
That's a story about life.
Yeah.
I mean, that's honestly, I don't even know how I'll deal with people knowing the music when they come to the shows, because I'm used to every show having to win people over. So you're like always just trying to get them out of like trying to label or judge whatever they're seeing and just experience it. But that's fucking hard. Like it just takes a lot of energy, and it's so fun to do, but I don't even know how to play a show any other way.
Like the day that people come into our show and start like singing the songs and knowing them,
I'll be like,
it's gonna be a beautiful day. I hope.
It's gonna freak me out. It's gonna be an adjustment. If that happens.
But I feel like we're ready for it, because I feel like we've really cut our teeth, like just touring and playing so many shows without anybody knowing who the fuck we are, you know?
I think that literally happened tonight. You guys started your set and the people were quiet and people didn't really, it felt like they didn't know who you were. And then by the end of the set, I think you've won over the crowd. Did you feel that way or not? I felt that way.
Tonight it felt much
I felt like the crowd was very open-minded tonight, and they were ready, they were receptive. But some crowds aren't like that. What we did tonight.
Or they just won't give you anything.
Yeah.
It's not like they're booing you. They're just like they won't participate.
And that's what I was complaining about on stage about last night. I'm like waving this mic. About like we nearly sold out the show in Brooklyn last night, but like the crowd wasn't nearly as fun as the crowd tonight, you know? So it's just different crowds all the time, and you never know what you're gonna get.
That's why touring's so fun. You always have another chance. You always like have another thing to learn.
But the thing is, like, Union Pool is an interesting venue because, like, I've seen bands there like rock and just do really interesting stuff and just be amazing performers. But then, like, the crowd would just be like, okay, that was nice, but they weren't like totally into it. You know what I mean?
Like that too.
Yeah, to a degree, you know. But you know what I will say, White Reaper, when I saw them in New York City last time, it was the opposite of what you would expect from a New York crowd.
Oh yeah,
does that make sense?
Going crazy?
Oh yeah, they're losing their minds, just like tonight. Yeah, and I feel like you guys have definitely won over a crowd that's really tough. Like Long Island is, you know, in my opinion, my experience is really tough to really win over. You know what I mean? Especially bands like, you know, that aren't like super popular or familiar. I think you've done a really good job, and your stage presence. You guys have a lot of charisma. You know, do you guys really like consider that when do you rehearse or practice for a show, or you just go out there? You know what I mean?
Oh my god.
Tonight we had charisma, but other nights we don't have any fucking charisma.
Or awkward as fuck.
Other nights we're pining for charisma. We just wish.
It's all in moods, just like anything. I think that I don't know. I'd rather have every show be different and some be fucked up than to have something like a routine that doesn't feel authentic.
Okay.
Because every crowd's different, every city's different, every show's different. I don't know. You can't expect the same thing everyone.
Yeah.
So why would you do the same thing for everyone?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You guys being from Boston, what can you tell me about the Beantown basement?
Yeah, man. I could tell you a lot.
Oh, yeah.
What do you want to know about?
I used to run one.
Yeah, like bring a non-New Yorker into that space.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What is it like? What's the people like? What's the community like?
You have slumlords for landlords.
So houses are just falling down, horribly maintained.
They're abusing the fuck out of the student population who needs to rent from them.
Very expensive.
You have a lot of college students who want to party and play music and
So
experiment.
you're sharing a house with like 8, 9, 10, 11 people, all in like a falling down house. Not falling down.
It's fucking rats in the wall.
Yeah, and some like black mold in the basement. But you have like a PA system you all went in on to buy.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, your friend's band wants to play, and then like, and then you get people who love touring and DIY touring and lots of different bass venues all over the country. So then you get touring bands going through, and I don't know, people will just show up for a party, for a show, for a little bit of both. Weird things will happen, like not shows, there'll be poetry, other like experimental art kind of things. You can just do whatever you want because there's no like person to go through. It's just like, oh, I want to do it, so you do it. It's not like you have to appease anyone. It's just you and your friends in your own venue that you made.
Like Jane had a house venue called The Womb in Austin.
That's a great name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Loved it. Conrayo named it.
It was great, and like I played in a grindcore band called Skinny Pigeons.
Another great name.
Yeah.
For a grindcore band.
Yeah. And that band was great, but like, so yes, and the singer of that band, my friend Joey Luna, he was super into fucking Slayer and Fugazi and all these like, and just he kind of introduced me into the concept of like a punk band or a really fucking heavy band, just doing it on your own. And so we booked like our own West Coast tour, and we did a tour of China, a DIY tour of China, and like he just kind of like opened me up to that world. And then Jane was doing it in her way, so it was kind of like we naturally came into it and made that a part of our band. You know, that we were gonna do it ourselves, and we were gonna create our own world to live in. You know, and that came out of the basements of Boston, where it's just very free, experimental.
You don't have to ask for permission.
Yeah, right.
Like, you don't need someone to approve what you're doing.
Because if you do, they're gonna shut you down anyway. You know?
Yeah.
There's always somebody.
Musically, are you getting that from Nashville?
No.
That's why we moved.
Yeah.
We left Nashville.
Nothing against the bands and the people in Nashville. It's just like, it's very music industry based, so people can get that, it's almost like that LA vibe or something. Like, what can you do for me? Or like,
who are you?
Or
what you are, not
polished,
who you are.
A polished look, because there's so many great musicians in Nashville, and like technical people and like people that are great musically, but sometimes especially in bands and projects, it's a little different for like singer-songwriters. I don't really know much about that world, but more of like the bands, I guess, it just feels, I don't know, a little bit more expected, tried and true, polished.
I don't know. I don't think there's a lot of people taking risks.
Yeah,
you know?
maybe the risk thing.
I feel like we try to take musical risks. In Nashville, it's very safe. In Boston, people take musical risks. Not in Nashville. I don't think so. Based on what I've seen, I'm only one guy.
But it's changing, I think, now, currently. Yeah. So I don't want to diss anything, because like, even us not being there for the past couple months, there's new bands and new shit going on down all the time. Like Sugar and Spice booking, they're doing crazy stuff in Nashville. Ryan Archer runs that. And, like,
Dark Matter.
Dark Matter's an awesome venue where like cool shit goes down, but it just didn't feel big enough to like, and we were touring so much. It's like you have to be there on the ground, getting the shit started, and people are doing that, which is very noble and awesome, but we just didn't have the time to, I don't know, it just felt oppressive or something.
But speaking of like taking risks, like a lot of your music is like vocally speaking, is very ethereal. Do you think that like not having songs that people can like quote unquote sing along to is a detriment to the band, or having like the spacey, dreamy sound will help the band? Does that make sense?
I don't know if I'd like to frame it in that world of like good or bad for the band, because it's what it is, and if it does well, cool. If it doesn't, that's cool too.
Yeah, that's just where we are now. That's just the sound that we were doing on this record and what we're doing now. And like down the lane, who knows what we'll be doing?
Because that's just how it started and how it could come to be. Because I think a lot of times, obviously, nothing's perfect, and if you're making something, you're gonna judge it, and it won't be right. Could have done this better. But like, if you keep on doing that forever, you'll never show it to anyone. So, even though that's the hardest thing for me, just like to follow that, but through this project and being able to just like let it happen for everyone else to see, for them to be in on it, and it to change and grow.
Like 5 years down the road from now, we don't want to be doing the same thing we're doing now, right? Just to see what happens. Just go with it.
Taking it day by day musically.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone else can even expect anything different or more from themselves. Like,
we can only be ourselves.
yeah.
You know? And if we're not, then I don't know what we're doing here. You know?
Yeah, exactly. I kind of compare, your guys' mentality on music to the Twilight Zone, because every episode is different.
Yeah.
Right? Would you agree?
I like that a lot.
I love that so much.
It's like a Beatles record. Every song's fucking different. They never write the same thing twice. Twilight Zone never make the same episode twice.
And it's a little creepy. I hope to be a little creepy.
Is there a painter that never paints the same painting twice? You know what I mean?
Maybe an abstract painter.
Have you guys seen the new Twilight Zone with Jordan Peele?
No, wait, it's actually.
Oh, fuck. I've heard about this.
Yeah, it was remade and it's on CBS.
Jordan Peele?
Yeah, with Jordan
Not Netflix?
Yeah. No, it's on Netflix. On CBS All Access. That's their digital platform.
Like
So, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I really want to see that.
Yeah, me too. What about Black Mirror? What do you think of
I
that?
love
Jane
Black.
loves it. It scares me too much.
Oh, it's scary, but in a good way.
Yeah, I almost seen the last season. Wasn't scary enough.
Like the new one, the current one with Miley Cyrus and... Oh, wait, was it good? Okay.
No, I just don't think it was scary.
It's scary. Okay.
Like, it needed to be creepier. There was ones that were like so creepy at the beginning. Like that one about that pedophile kid.
Dude.
That one.
Oh, man.
You
I
know
can't
it's
get over that
coming.
episode.
Yeah, and then you like empathize, but then you realize, oh, it's just. I remember that. I'll remember it forever. They didn't have those kind of things. It was just like the Miley Cyrus one almost felt like a movie, like the tropes in a movie, like the just dread.
Junipero.
Oh, that one was great too.
Man, they can do a whole feature-length movie. Drop the notes.
Yeah, I would so watch it.
Yeah. Love that show. Very, very creative show, too. But I'm really curious about Jordan Peele's Twilight Zone.
I know.
To see what that's like.
Have you seen any previews?
No, I've caught some episodes in class in college, and on the marathon they do on New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
They do a whole Twilight Zone marathon thing. But I haven't seen much of Twilight Zone, but I definitely want to.
Oh, you mean the original?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, I was asking if you had seen previews of the new one.
No, I haven't. Yeah.
Okay.
Have you guys seen Get Out?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
There's so many movies I need.
Yeah, you haven't watched it. I watch too many movies all the time.
I don't know what I'm spending my time doing, but I miss too many movies. I like
Just making an album, you know.
I've touring the country and shit.
Oh yeah. So after this album drops, you guys going international? Are you gonna circle around the U.S.?
Oh, we can't really say about international yet, but I think there's something on the books for this fall.
Okay, all right. Now,
And we'll be back on the West Coast and the East Coast in October, probably. October, November.
okay.
And we might just be going elsewhere before then, so.
Elsewhere in Brooklyn, that venue?
Oh, no.
Go by that space?
No, not that one.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like, we might be going overseas really soon. That might get announced really soon. But I can't actually say.
Yeah.
Of course. So, how would you describe the stench of Long Island? Because there is a
Yes,
stench.
there is.
I
knew it.
In my
I
opinion.
knew it. It almost smells like an old boat.
I just want to tell you
Yes.
the kitchen was closing in about 10 minutes. If you guys wanted to put it any other.
Do you want anything? Do you want more oysters?
You crazy?
Those are fucking good. Do you want anything?
No, I'm good. I ate before I came to see you guys.
Do you, the viewer, want more?
I don't want anything. That's how they check.
Yeah.
Everything can just be together.
Right, whenever you guys are ready, okay?
Thanks.
So, the last thing I want to know, like, you describe your opinion of what the stench of Long Island is, and I'll tell you mine.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You go first.
Oh,
Go
I
first.
first.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't say it.
I haven't smelled anything.
I think like an old boat.
Boats, yes.
An old like wooden boat, and it has like an ale keg in the back of it. It's leaking a little bit, and there's like an old man and his beard, and he's like nice though. He's a nice old man, and I'm hugging him, and that's the smell.
I would agree with that in certain parts of Long Island.
Okay.
Like there's any place that's by the water, like Long Beach, Freeport, kind of smells like that.
Yeah.
I just think the general smell of Long Island is like a big garden, just grass, freshly cut grass that kind of has like a beach, sandy kind of smell. It's very difficult to describe, but it's. I like it. I like the smell of it.
I like it too. It makes it's very homey.
Yes.
It's very comforting.
Yep.
I like it.
Twen, thank you so much for hanging out with me and at the Amityville. Great show. Hope to see you guys back on Long Island.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Peter.
Yeah, anytime. Big thanks to Twen for chatting me up on level 31 of My Little Underground. Don't forget, their debut album, Awestruck, is coming out September the 20th, and I'm really excited for that. And I love fall, so this will be a great album to start off the fall. Right? Right. All right, we're going to continue this double interview action, My Little Underground, with a throwback interview from 2015 with Kristin Kontrol, formerly known as Dee Dee, from the band Dum Dum Girls. I got to chat with her at the Moscot, New York City, about 4 years ago. It was August 2015. Great times. It was an acoustic set that she did, and it was very, very crowded and very, very hot. But it was still a good show. It was very intimate, and Dee Dee is, well, Kristin now is very, very talented. I'm very excited to see what she has cooked up in the tank for 2019 and beyond. So, classic interview action right now. My Little Underground, Dee Dee, Kristin Kontrol. Let's go. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
You had a great set, by the way.
Thank you.
So, are the Dum Dum Girls on hiatus, or are you still recording new music with them, or what?
Well, I mean, I guess it's maybe not totally obvious, but Dum Dum Girls is, obviously it's a band, but it's really just a name for my recording. So I have always written and recorded on my, with myself and producers, and then, figure it out, take it on tour with the band. So anytime our touring cycle ends, it's just goes back into that time of me writing and recording. So I'm in the middle of that.
Okay, so you never had a record where it's just, oh, this is Dee Dee Penny. It's
kind of, it's synonymous,
Oh, okay. All
yeah,
right,
it's misleading and confusing, but it's also kind of accurate at the same time.
I kind of understood that when I did some research on you. I mean, when I started listening to you, I was always wondering, oh, this is a band, but this is also Dee Dee's recordings too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all those tapes you did before were just you?
Yeah, every record that's been released except for Only in Dreams. The band at the time, which was a different bass player, but everyone else the same, they did play on that record, and that was really fun. But for the most part, it's just like I micromanage and need control over so much, and I haven't really come out of that.
Okay, I get you. What was it like working with Sunrose Wagner?
He's great. I've done a lot of records with him. I basically paired up with my producer, Richard Gotterer, who's also my manager, kind of like my New York dad. Him and his engineer, Alonzo, I've worked with them since I Will Be. I recorded that record myself, but they did post-production and mixed it so that it wouldn't sound like... and then through that relationship, he also had worked with the Ravenettes and Suna, so he was who suggested that Suna and I pair up.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so we've done 2 EPs and 2 records together, and yeah, I mean he's incredibly talented. He's a genius.
Would you say that the Ravenettes are an inspiration to you? Have you been a fan of them before you've met Sunrose
For
Wagner?
sure, yeah. That was a funny thing too. I was really nervous about working with him because I had been a fan for a long time. When I went to school in Germany during my college years, I studied abroad in 2002, and I found out about them at that point because I was reading, I had a subscription to The Face, which was a great English magazine that
Yeah.
doesn't exist anymore. And they were still like a Danish-based band at the time, so they were in, like more European press. And I remember just being pretty blown away because obviously there were other bands that had, done a sound that they obviously were referencing themselves.
Yeah.
But the harmony thing that they did, like I've always been I'm a singer, I've always been in choir, I've always been obsessed with the, harmonies and vocal groups. And so for me, hearing a band that had this aesthetic that I already, really loved, but then also like the like root of their music were their voices together. That was really inspiring for sure.
That's how I discovered the Ravenettes. I was listening to Dum Dum Girls Pandora Radio, and they came on, and I fell in love immediately.
Yeah, they are great, for sure.
Yeah, so you're inspired by a lot of 60s garage rock and a lot of pop and a little bit of punk rock. Do you also find inspiration of the shoegaze, UK shoegaze, dream pop stuff from the 80s
Well,
and 90s?
I mean, I would not pigeonhole myself quite that much.
Of course.
I grew up on American and British 60s music because of my parents. And then, as a preteen, American preteen, I was into like the major hits that still fell in like the alternative realm, I was super into Nirvana and Hole and Garbage and Smashing Pumpkins and Nine Inch Nails and Marilyn Manson. And then when I got a little bit older, I started finding, the whatever indie, more classically considered indie stuff. And, I remember my friend gave me a tape that was Elliott Smith on one side and Thurston Moore on the other. I think I still have it, and that was kind of my like welcome to the club. But I mean, for me, it's really always just been my favorite stuff is very melodic and very singing centric. But I listen to all sorts of music. Like my top 10 album list. The spectrum includes like Velvet Underground to Bob Marley. So, it's like it's all there for sure.
You went to a Slow Dive concert recently, right?
Yeah, I saw them for the first time. They played the Primavera Festival that we played last year. Yeah, that was pretty incredible.
Did you see the Beautiful Noise documentary? With all those shoegaze and dream pop stuff?
Yeah.
Good stuff. I love that stuff.
I saw it in New York. Yeah, it was really, really cool to see footage like that hadn't really been shared before.
Yeah, so...
I'm so sorry. I don't mean to cut it short. They're actually trying to get people out of space in the next few minutes.
Okay.
So
we'll wrap it up.
It's all good.
Thanks, Elena.
So the Are You Okay video was so dark and horror-inspired. So what about horror movies inspired your work?
I mean, I don't know if anything super directly, but I do love horror movies. And the first class that I took when I went to college, which was almost like, it's kind of ironic because it was at 8 a.m., which you just don't do. But it was about zombies in literature.
Okay.
So, like, we showed up as zombies because we obviously hadn't slept. But the class basically consisted of reading, various texts and a lot of like critical theory and then watching zombie films.
Oh my God.
And like analyzing, like cross-analyzing them. So one of my favorite movies of all time is an old one called Carnival of Souls.
Okay.
Which is not like a gore horror, but it's really trippy. It's really good. It's from, I don't know, early to mid 60s, I think.
Do you ever consider acting? Because I think your performance...
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that's my next move. I'm just trying to get someone to think I don't suck.
I think my favorite Dum Dum Girls song is your cover of Last Caress by the Misfits. I think you should issue that and put out a B-sides album because I love that song. It sounds very lo-fi, very underproduced. You definitely should
I did that in my apartment, yeah. My friend put it out on his label. will let him know.
Okay. Yeah.
Cool.
So it's been so much fun to talk to you because I'm a huge fan of yours. So whenever your Dum Dum Girls or whatever Dee Dee comes around again, I definitely want to see you again.
Cool. Please do.
It's been so much fun. Thank you, Dee Dee.
Nice to meet you.
Yes.
Cool. Have a good night.
All right, you too. Yes, sir. Level 31, My Little Underground. It's Peter A. Big thanks to Twen for inviting me to their post-show dinner after their incredible set at Amityville Music Hall. And look out for their debut album, Awestruck, coming out September the 20th. And if you're in Europe listening to this, they're touring with Taco Cat late August. So definitely go check them out. It's going to be a fun show. I guarantee it. I've seen Taco Cat twice in the past 3 years, and I've loved it both times. So definitely check out Twen and Taco Cat on tour in Europe late this summer and listen to their debut album, Awestruck, September the 20th. I hope you enjoyed my throwback interview with Kristin Kontrol, formerly known as Dee Dee of Dum Dum Girls, and I'd like to believe that this was probably the last or one of the last interviews that she has done under the Dee Dee moniker before switching over to Kristin Kontrol. Very excited to see what she has to offer in 2019 and beyond as well. This has been Level 31 of My Little Underground. I'm Peter A. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, Instagram. It's Peter_A. Doesn't hurt to follow, all right? And visit my website, peteraradio.com. Bite-sized portions of My Little Underground are available on YouTube. Just search Peter A Radio, one word, on YouTube, or just go to my site, peteraradio.com, and the link is right there. You don't got to do much to listen to My Little Underground. I'm Peter A. Peace out.